It feels like just yesterday, the whole conversation around AI was pure, nonstop excitement. But it seems like that initial awe is fading, and fast. It's being replaced by this growing wave of public skepticism and sometimes even outright frustration. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into exactly why that tide is turning.
Okay, let's kick things off with a single number, 52%. According to a recent poll from the Pew Research Center, that's how many Americans now say they are more concerned than they are excited about AI being used more and more in daily life. And what's really wild is just how fast this all happened. I mean, just a few years back, before ChatGPT basically became a household name, that number was only 37%. That's not some slow drift, right? That's a huge, rapid shift in how people are feeling. So, what's going on here?
To really understand why this is happening, we've got to look at the hard data behind this feeling. And believe me, the numbers, well, they tell a very clear story.
And when you see it on a chart like this, that jump is it's stark. A 15-point jump in concern in just a couple of years. It really shows that as AI has gone mainstream, public pessimism has been growing right there alongside it.
And look, these aren't just some vague, out-there fears. The data points to really specific worries about the very things that make us human. More than half the people surveyed think it's going to hurt our creativity. Half think it'll damage our relationships. And that tiny number at the bottom? Only 10%, just 1 in 10, feel more excitement than concern.
So this gets into a really fascinating theory behind this whole cool down. A study in the Journal of Marketing found something you might not expect. The less people actually know about AI, the more they tend to like it. It's almost like once the initial magic wears off from using it, a much more critical and often negative view starts to take its place.
All right, let's move on, because this shift isn't just happening in opinion polls. It's building into some very real-world anxieties, especially for a whole generation that's trying to get their careers started in this brand new landscape.
That's a quote from none other than the U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. He's talking about a tough, low-hiring environment. Now, he says the main reason is a slowing economy, but he also admits that, AI is probably a factor when it comes to fewer entry-level jobs because companies are starting to look at automation.
And here's the really scary part. This isn't just some temporary problem. Economists have a term for this, scarring effects. It basically describes the long-term damage that's done to a whole generation's financial future when they have to enter a weak job market right at the start of their careers.
And this, right here, this is the heart of the whole conflict. On one side, you've got the tech industry promising this utopia, this era of abundance. But on the other side, you have the public, who are more and more afraid that AI is really just a tool to cut costs, and as one writer put it, a naked attempt to get rid of people.
You want to see a perfect example of this in action? Just look at what happened with Duolingo. I mean, they were a total darling on social media. But the second they announced plans to replace human contractors with AI, the backlash was immediate, and it was intense. They were forced into full-on damage control mode.
But here's the thing, while the job anxiety is a huge deal, it's really just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle of public frustration.
I mean, the frustration is just piling up from all these other issues. People are finally connecting the dots between generative AI and things like copyright theft, the environmental damage from all those data centers, biased results. And hey, just the simple fact that these tools, they often just get things wrong.
And speaking of that, remember this number? It's not just the percentage of people worried about AI, it's also the percentage of Americans who say they are not confident that they can even spot content that's been generated by AI.
And then you stack that right next to this next number, and whoa, you see the real problem. 76%, that's more than 3 out of 4 people, believe it's crucial to be able to tell the difference. So you have this massive gap between what people feel they need to trust the digital world and what they think is actually possible right now. And this is where the problem literally hits home, moving from the digital world right into the physical one. As Alex Hanna points out, the massive data centers that power all this AI, they're often built in marginalized communities. And that's raising some serious questions about environmental justice, as local communities are actually organizing to fight back against the pollution in their own backyards.
Okay, so let's pull back for a second and just look at this whole shift, because it's really a profound change in the public mood, from that initial wonder to this widespread kind of ambient animosity.
It's just wild how fast this has all happened. As one writer put it, AI companies have basically speed-run the Silicon Valley trajectory. They've gone from being celebrated innovators to public antagonists in what feels like record time.
I saw this quote that just nails the whole thing, the real emotional reason behind the backlash. For so many people, the promised benefits of AI, they feel kind of distant and abstract. But the negative impacts on their jobs, their communities, their sense of what's real, those feel incredibly personal and very, very tangible.
So at the end of the day, that's what this all boils down to. The perception is shifting. People are no longer seeing AI as this great equalizer. Instead, it's starting to look like a technology where the harms are spread out for everyone to deal with, while the benefits and the power get captured by a select few.
And that leaves all of us with a really big question for the future. As AI becomes more and more a part of our lives, the people creating it face a huge task. It's not just about innovating anymore. It's about proving that their inventions truly serve everyone, and in doing that, trying to rebuild a foundation of trust that seems to be eroding by the day.
Thank you for watching Jobs Are Gone with AI. See you in the next episode for AI and its impact on our lives.